This book is Another Bullshit Night in Suck City, which is what the movie is based on. Maybe I should have said at the beginning, I don't know. But it's a memoir that I worked in a homeless shelter for 6 years, and after I was there for 3 years, my father got evicted from where he lived and ended up being homeless and staying at the shelter. And that's how we got to know each other. And the book tracks the trajectory of his life and my life, how we both ended up in the same place at the same time. So, I'll read a couple chapters from this. Ulysses. Many fathers are gone, some leave, some are left, some return unknown and hungry. Only the dog remembers. Even if around, most disappear all day, to jobs their children only slightly understand. Gone to office, gone to shop, men in suits hiding behind closed doors, yelling into phones, men in coveralls reading pornography in pickup trucks. The carpenter, the electrician. They drive to strangers' houses. A woman in a robe answers the door. They sit at the table with her. She offers coffee and cake. They talk about the day ahead. By nightfall, you won't recognize the bathroom, he promises. Monday, we start in on the roof. Many end up sitting around the house all day, sneaking sips in the woodshed. Many drive to other towns, make love to a woman they've been making love to for years. Some continue to yell at their sons from the grave. Some are less than a tattered photograph. Some sons need to exhume the body. Some need to see a name written in a ledger. Some drive past the house the father once lived in as a child, park across from it. Some swear that if they could gaze into his face just once, their hearts would settle. One friend inherited some money and hired a private investigator to track down his lost father, paid $1,000 to find out his father was dead. All my life, my father had been manifest as an absence, a non-presence, a name without a body. The three of us sat around the table, my mother, brother, and I, all carrying his name. Some part of me knew he would show up, that if I stood in one place long enough, he would find me, like you're taught to do when you're lost. But they never taught us what to do if both of you are lost, and you both end up in the same place, waiting. Person here that has the name of Amir, and he's the Iraqi prisoner, the detainee, the ex-detainee, who was photographed being dragged on a leash by Lindy England, if you remember that photograph. So he was one of the people that we interviewed. And Amir is the name that was given to him by the Physicians for Human Rights. It's a pseudonym. So he's got, the next two pieces will have Amir in it, so just so you know. And that'll be the last two pieces from this. Monkey mind. Some Buddhists believe that as you wander at the bardo, that realm between living and dying, you will encounter the physical manifestations of that which terrifies you. Over and over they will appear before you. This is your karmic debt, and only those who are enlightened will walk unafraid. Some believe that enlightenment often comes at the moment of death, just as it can often come at the moment of birth. Most of us, though, spend our given time, our handful of hours, our teaspoonful of years, hovering between these two poles, muddying the water. Monkey mind, some call it, samsara. In Istanbul, while collecting testimonies, we asked each ex-detainee to describe the room where his torture took place. Each man looked around him. It looked like this room, each responded. There was a table, there was a computer, someone was always behind me. What did the person who tortured you look like was the next question, and the detainee would look at me, then look at the artist, the only two white men in the room, and either point to him or point to me. He looked like him was the answer. In some ways, we were mere shadows to them. One evening over dinner in an outdoor restaurant, Amir asked if I was married, if I had children. I've been asked this question for years whenever I travel, and I've been looked at with something like pity when I've answered no. My first child will be born in January, I told Amir, a girl. He narrowed his eyes and smiled as if I had just come into focus.